Anjali Arya cordially invites you all to today's workshop organized by La Politique in partnership with Look Up India. The topic for today is digital well-being in the era of fake news. And the guest speaker for today's event is Mr. Rijul Arora. The guidelines to be followed during the event are: number one, the participants are requested to keep themselves on mute until asked to unmute. Number two, as soon as our guest speaker finishes, then only the participants can put their questions in the chat box. Further, they will ask the questions by unmuting themselves when asked. Now, I invite Dr. Rupinda Oberoi, Staff Advisor, La Politique, to please welcome our guest speaker. Thank you.
So hello and good morning, and this is a fine winter morning. Last week was really cold. Today it's bright and sunny, and it's a Saturday morning, and welcome everybody, and thank you for sparing the time to be with us this Saturday sort of morning to attend this very important workshop on the topic of digital well-being in the era of fake news. And this is a workshop which is organized by La Polity, Department of Political Science, Kirurimal College. The whole idea of having this workshop is basically to reevaluate the technology's impact on mental and physical health of citizens. Technology, in fact, has become quite essential to the lifeline, and more so during the COVID-19 pandemic. And in last few months, many people are sort of discussing and talking about what is being talked of as Zoom fatigue, or do we need a digital detox, and what is the impact of us all being hooked on to these technologies, and from Zoom to social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What is the deep impact which is happening not only at the personal level, but also the social, political, cultural aspects, how we are changing the society, which is driven by this very aggravated and aggressive interaction and interface with the technology that we are having every day. So we were already entered into the era of this kind of connectivity, but what COVID-19 has done in a way has sort of accelerated or speeded up this kind of integration. We have to do it whether we liked it or not. And that has had a deep impact. And today morning, as we gather, we are going to do this kind of self-introspection of how we can adopt certain checks or tools to manage this kind of relationship that we have entered into, so that we can use technology to our own advantage, rather than being seduced by the technology, rather than being what is known as addicted to technology. So it's a very pertinent, essential topic for all ages, but particularly the students, because invariably all the classes and all the interactions that they are having in the colleges are online. So I would assume that many of the students are spending about 8 to 9 to 10 hours hooked on to these technologies, whether it's taking online classes or being connected to their friends or family, etc. And that has led us to, and I'm using this term to sort of explain to you that people are talking of, is this an age of anxiety, of age of mental exhaustion, which is borne out by this kind of always on connectivity or culture that we have entered into. In fact, daily we are hammered with this endless stream of content vying for our attention. It is commercial, but you would have seen it for yourself, that any kind of search triggers the content being available on our screens all the time. So it's that it also talks about how much privacy that we have, and how much exposed, and what is the digital footprint, and the content that we are leaving behind are all the matter of concerns which as a society, as the government and the policymakers and big tech giants need to do and think about, and what are the regulatory mechanisms that need to kickstart to check some of these, exploitative end of the technology. So, and today morning when I woke up, I saw this spectacular, news about how Trump has been permanently banned from using Twitter and other platforms. So it's amazing that how rapidly the technology can be used to spread this kind of incitement, rake up the emotions of the people from all political spectrums, from the left to the right, we can say that. And so how cautious we are, how can we build this kind of firewalls within our mindset to be able to sort of filter and check what we are exactly consuming. And this kind of over-exaggerated, digital media usage has, being talked about as what are the negative impact on the people, including what we call as informational overload, dangerous misinformation, and work-life imbalances that has created subsequently. So the association between the social media and the consumption and the mental health is actually not new, and has already been talked about, and a lot of research has gone into by the psychologists and sociologists who are studying about this interface between the technology and to the humans, and but even prior to the pandemic. But now the focus has become more pointed to this fact that what it is going to do, because the lockdown, which started in the early spring of 2019, both young people and adults, we all flocked to the social media almost non-stop, ceaselessly. So while it is important to stay up to date, being aware of what is existing in the social media, there is a positive content, information, knowledge available there. We need to sort of be aware of that. What are the implications of overconsumption of it? And another point that comes to my mind is about this kind of sensationalization, and often the negative nature of the news headlines, the impact on one's psyche that results from consuming too much of damaging and the negative news is that it triggers this kind of what in psychology is known as flight or fight responses that impacts the brain chemistry and the mood almost instantly. And this compounded regularly with and over a very, very extended period, we're already into 1 year of this kind of hyper consumption and binging over the social media, which can lead to long-term symptoms, which often psychologists talk about is like symptoms like anxiety, isolation, depression, and general fatigue, which sets in. During the lockdown, I also came across this very, very sort of interesting term, which is infodemic. And infodemic is sort of a term which is blend of information and epidemic. And it typically refers to a very, very rapid and far-reaching spread of both accurate and inaccurate information. This also refers to kind of a plethora of information that spreads like a wildfire through the digital communities. And so as consumers, We need to be aware about how much content we are consuming. But there's another element to it, that we need to be able to have that faculty and ability to untangle or distangle the truth from the fake, or fact from the fiction. There's another interesting data that comes to my mind is the data speaks about that in USA, almost 1 in 8 citizen or person can be termed as digital addict. So these are enormous number of people that we're talking about. I'm just quoting the data of USA, but believe me, if we tabulate the global data on it, we're going to have a huge number of people of all age groups, but particularly the young people who are hooked on to the social media, spending excessive amount of time, which is impacting their abilities, their work, their careers, their studies, and also sort of bringing in changes in their mindset. They're making them more violent, insensitive, so on and so forth. The debate can continue, discussion on these issues are very, very deep and significant, and it can go on. But to talk about it, and enlighten us and throw some insight into on this topic, we have with us today Mr. Rijul Arora. And Rijul, personally, went through this journey of being addicted to technology and then successfully coming out of it. And that's what is remarkable, because he's going to talk about it from his own personal narrative and story and journey, which makes it very, very convincing. And his whole mission is to sort of create this general awareness among the young that how you can use technology to their advantage. So technology is neutral. Technology is neither good and bad, but how you use it, employ the technology. You can employ it to your benefit, and you can, get inundated with this kind of, overwhelmed with this technology, and it can just, take you off track in a way. Mr. Rijul Arora is actually a tech person himself, because he works in building better working world through technology, and professionally he is working with Ernst Young as a consultant in digital and technology transformation practices, wherein he sort of helps clients in end-to-end technology transformation. And moreover, he also worked with leading educational institutions to devise this kind of digital transformation journey. He tries to spread this fundamental message of having healthy relationship with technology, and has been holding these kind of workshops in various schools and universities. Thank you, Mr. Rijul Arora, for sparing your time and agreeing to be with us and to talk to the students of Karodimal College on this, of University of Delhi, on this very, very pertinent issue of digital well-being, and how to be aware consumers of digital information, and also be digitally aware citizens. So over to you, Rijul. Welcome once again on behalf of La Polity, Department of Political Science. I welcome you. Thank you, Rijul.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful introduction to the topic, and thank you so much for the kind words and my introduction. It means a lot to me. Is it possible to give access to screen share to me so that I can share my screen?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that right away.
Perfect, ma'am.
Yeah, I've done that. Rijul, can you access it?
Yes, perfect. Thank you, ma'am. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. So before I even start the session, I know you must be wondering, it's Saturday afternoon, why should I be attending this session? Number one, I have strong credibility, which ma'am already talked about. I have spoken about digital well-being at leading platforms like TEDx, Delhi University, IITs, IIMs, etc. And I also work with technology day in and day out. So I work with technology at EY, and it's like my bread and butter. But second and most important reason, I'm 24 years old. I'm a millennial. I'm almost in the same age group as all of you. So what I'll say is something that you can resonate with. And what's different about me is that I'm someone who's gone through that journey of being addicted to technology, leaving it completely, and now I have a healthy relationship, which is what I'll advocate for today. So these are two strong, concrete reasons as to why you should be listening to me today. And today's agenda would be broadly covering 2 or 3 aspects. First, I'll talk about problems when it comes to unhealthy use of technology. First, I'll dive into how technology affects each and every one of us individually in terms of screen time. Then I'll take a larger picture. I'll talk about how it can affect democracy, leveraging fake news. So this is what I'll talk about in the first section. Second section, I'm not just going to give you problems, but I'm actually going to give you a lot of solutions today. Solutions you could implement starting today, some practical solutions. And I'll then enable you to come up with your own steps. That's the key agenda of the workshop today. And then we'll kind of look at a bigger picture as to how you could play a role in tackling fake news or being a part of digital well-being movement at a broader level. So as ma'am also said, and this is something that I strongly believe in, and I quote, technology is neither good nor bad. It's given meaning by how we use it. I know बहुत technical sound कर रहा है, but let me kind of give an analogy to explain that. So अगर आप एक knife लोगे, if you use a knife to cut vegetables, that's good use of it. But if you use it to hurt people, that's bad use of it. So that's how it works with technology as well. And when I mention the word technology, I mean all kinds of screens and social medias you consume. For example, your phone, your laptops, your social medias, your Netflix, etc. That's what I mean by technology and screens today. So I was saying that if you use a knife to cut vegetables, that's good use. But if you use it to hurt people, that's bad use. So this analogy also works with tech. Because ultimately, technology is a tool. If you use it to grow yourself, then that's good use of it. On the other hand, if you use it to deteriorate your life, that's bad use of it. So today, whatever I'll talk about is something that's going to enable you to have a healthy relationship with tech, wherein it enables you to grow yourself. That's what I'm going to be primarily talking about today. So let's first talk about how tech affects you individually. Ma'am also mentioned that we're somewhat struggling with screen time nowadays. So I'll kind of cover that aspect first. So I'll take a couple of situations which I'm sure must be familiar with all of you. You go to your social media, you scroll endlessly through it, and you don't realize how time flies by. Or you see how other people are doing so well. यार इसकी ये job लग गई, यार ये vacation पे गया. So you feel a sense of low self-esteem, or you feel that jealousy out there. Second, you go to your screens. You spend lots of time on gaming like PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, etc. or Ludo. And you spend a lot of time and you don't realize how time flies by. I'm sure that a lot of you listening can empathize with this. Third is checking your phone in the bathroom. And this is something that I've seen a lot. Like so this is back in office when I used to go to the washroom to urinate. And while urinating, people used to have a phone in one of their hands. And the only question that used to come to my mind was, man, it takes 20 seconds to urinate. What could you possibly achieve from your phone in those 20 odd seconds? And I think most of us listening probably use our phones in the bathroom as well. Fourth and the last situation, you get up first thing in the morning and you check your phone. It's your alarm clock. Or before sleeping, you check your phone. You check your social media, or probably you're binge watching Netflix, or you just watch that one episode of Netflix or Amazon Prime. So are these situations familiar to you or someone you know? And what I'll do is I'll take a quick poll so that we can actually check this up, whether this is something that resonates with you or not. And let me just post it in the chat window. So if you could go to a site called menti.com, menti.com, and use the code 6327158. Just put a yes or no. That would suffice. And don't worry, even if it's familiar with you, that's completely okay. This is something that I also struggle with sometimes, and I've completely struggled with beforehand. But the idea is that we should learn from our mistakes. We should unlearn, learn, and relearn. That's the key idea. I'll quickly go to the poll that I made. I see that a lot of you have answered on the chat window as well, that it's a yes. So thank you for the responses. I'll wait for a couple of seconds for the answers to come in. And as I said, I've done talks across colleges and more than 90% of the people say yes on this question. So this is something that's not just you. This is something that a lot of us struggle with.
Sorry for interrupting. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, just I want to request all of you to kindly stop writing answers on the chat box, because sir will be asking a lot other questions. So we can use this site maybe, or result site. We can provide the link on the chat box itself.
Yes,
then we can easily have an access to it. Yeah.
Menti.com. I'll just post it up. Perfect. I see a lot of yeses. Perfect. So I'll move forward now. So let me, so this is why I put my photo here, because this is something that a lot of us struggle with. Let me actually give my first key solution for today. So the key solution is LTC, location time content, LTC. And let me actually explain that. First is L. Be very careful about where you check your screens. Are you checking it in the bathroom? Or while talking to people, are you checking your screens? So there's a lot of research to prove that when you're talking to people and you pick up your phone, that affects the quality of the relationship that you have. That's L. Another example could be, a lot of people actually check their phones while driving, or, I'm sure you must have seen Uber drivers actually multitasking. So that's quite dangerous. So be very careful about the location you check your screens in. Second is time. And there are two components to time. One is, how much time are you spending on screens? Are you spending a lot of time on screens? Is it something that's substituting your offline life? So if that's the case, spend less time on screens. Second is, what time of the day are you checking your screens in? Are you checking it first thing in the morning? So if you're checking your screens first thing in the morning, your tech is driving your day instead of you driving your day. You're getting a lot of notifications. People are asking you to do some work. You're getting some homework and all. So tech is driving your day instead of you driving the day. So be very careful about what time you're checking the screens at. Second is, are you checking your screen last thing before you sleep? So there's a lot of research to prove that if you check your screens just before you sleep, it's going to affect the quality of relationship it's going to affect the sleep quality that you have. So be very careful about that as well. So there's something called a night light. So remember that there's something called night light or dark mode on your phone, which kind of makes your screen darker and reduces the blue light that comes. So if the blue light that comes reduces, it improves the quality of sleep. So what happens is, when blue light comes, it reduces the production of melatonin, which kind of decreases the quality of sleep that you have. So leverage this night light or dark mode on your phone. And last thing is C, which is content. What kind of content are you consuming online? So if you're looking at other people's photos, or if you're consuming something which is not helping you grow, that's not probably good use of social media. For example, I watch a lot of self-help content online. I listen to Audible. I'm using technology in a way that helps me grow as a person. So listen to Audible, listen to podcasts, and whatever works for you. Idea is that you use it as a tool to grow yourself, not deteriorate yourself. So this is a key idea which I want all of you to remember, which is LTC. So question. So we all understand that we're struggling with this, and I've given you two key solutions as well, which is LTC and using nightlight or dark mode. But let me kind of ask you a question, because I want you to realize the severity of the problem as well. So this is a question to all of you listening. Would you right now want a small broken bone in your hand, or would you want a million broken pieces of your phone? Which option would you want to prefer? Which is A or B? Just think about it. I'm sure that a lot of you must be thinking of B, right? So I'm kind of assuming that's going to be the case. I hope if we're not going to be enabling the chat window, right, Pankhuri?
Yeah, we can. Maybe we can respond on the chat box.
You can respond to chat box. That would be, I think, very good. That will make it more interactive. So what do you think? Option A, which is a small broken bone in your hand, or option B, which is million broken pieces of your phone? Which one would you prefer? B. And that is what I see. A lot of B's coming in. So this is what we think, but actually, let me kind of show you the answer. Around 50%, to be precise, 46% of us would actually want a broken bone over a broken phone. So the idea here is that phones have become like a gateway to everything we have, our social medias, the people that we're connected with, the online classes we are attending. So it has become a gateway to everything. That's the idea I wanted to give here. That's how severely we are addicted or distracted by technology. And again, I'm not saying it's because of tech, it's because of the way we use tech, which is bad. But let me now kind of go into the broader picture. I hope that all of you realize that we are addicted to tech or we are distracted by technology. But let me take a bigger picture now. We looked at how unhealthy use of technology was affecting us individually. But let's take a bigger umbrella where we talk about democracy and fake news. So before I go into that, there's a lot of information pollution happening online, information pollution. And there are various types of information pollution happening online. And what I've done is we've kind of categorized it into three broad categories. One is misinformation, second is disinformation, and third is malinformation. And let me actually explain that. So what I've done is I made a 3x2 matrix to actually explain this. So what I've done is I've taken two parameters. One parameter is whether the information is real or fake, and second, whether it is harmful or not. So first category is misinformation. So the idea is behind misinformation is that it's fake and it does not do any harm. And I'm thinking that all of you are still wondering, what do you mean by that? But let me actually give an example. You have an article, आपको एक article आता है, आप उसको validate नहीं करते हो and सीधा forward कर देते हो. तो and validation में पता लगता है कि उसका data updated नहीं है. So while that is fake because data update नहीं है, but उसका कोई harm नहीं है. So that is an example of misinformation. Disinformation. इसमें news fake भी है plus harm भी है. For example, if something that's causing communal discord or that's causing actually animosity between different religion groups. For example, किसी एक religion group ने या किसी ने भी कुछ news spread कर दी कि किसी ने किसी को hurt कर दिया. For example, religion A has hurt religion B. So that is something that's spread across, but that's not true probably. So that is fake as well as harmful because that's causing animosity between two different religion groups. Another example could be कि जो मैंने news बोली वो probably true थी, but people are still spreading it like anything. While the news is true or real, it's causing animosity. So that is malinformation. I hope that's clear. The distinction between misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Just remember three types of information pollution. MDM, mis, dis, mal. I think that's a good acronym that all of you would remember. But what is something that today we'll be covering is mis and disinformation, wherein we're talking about fake news, not the real part of it. So this is the categorization of information pollution online. So again, another question to all of you. So I'm sure you must be wondering why are we talking about digital context with fake news? So what has happened is that the shift, which ma'am was also talking about, we've shifted from traditional newspapers and all, or media channels for that matter, to consuming news on the social media, which is why social media handles needs to be talked about and the role of digital technologies in fake news. So this, and I'm sure that a lot of you listening would relate to this. Where do we all consume our news online? We consume it on social media apps, right? हमें दिखता है कि हाँ कुछ हुआ है social media में, or on our probably TOI apps and all. But I'm sure that a lot of you would be thinking कि हाँ मैं social media पे consume करता हूँ. So this is why there's the importance. This is why I want to talk about importance of how can you actually navigate that online life very well. So question to all of you. Let's imagine कि दो टाइप की न्यूज गई है स्प्रेड. एक है रियल न्यूज, लेट्स से रियल न्यूज है कि कोविड वैक्सीन ठीक है, मतलब कुछ उसके आफ्टर इफेक्ट्स नहीं है. एंड दूसरी न्यूज ये है कि कोविड वैक्सीन के आफ्टर इफेक्ट्स है बहुत सारे, प्रॉब्ली इम्पोर्टेंसी हो जाएंगे एंड ऑल हो जाएगा. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक वुड स्प्रेड मोर ऑन ट्विटर? एनी गेसेस? Would the fake news spread more or would the real news spread more? Your thoughts on the chat window. Fake news, exactly. And I'm sure that a lot of you know that. But another question now. What would be the rate of spread of fake news compared to real news? Let's say कि 1:1 होगा, 2:1 होगा, 3:1, wherein 2 or 3 is the spread of fake news and 1 is the spread of real news. I hope that question is clear. So basically, क्या rate होगा? 3:1. Okay. Anyone else? Any guesses? That was just an example. It could be more, it could be less. It could be 2:1, 1.5:1. It could be probably more too. Depends on sensational capacity of news. Absolutely. That's correct, Vaibhav. But this is just like an average study which is done. A study of a couple of posts which were, thousands of posts which were taken to come to that. 4:1. Okay. Anyone else? You're still on the lower side, I would say. So I think this answer might kind of shock you. 6:1. Perfect. Bang on. Thank you so much, Radhika. That's kind of bang on. So fake news spreads 6 times more than real news. Just imagine. So the probability of you getting to consume fake news is much more. And this is because of the way the algorithms are built in tech platforms. They're built in a way that would want you to consume more content, that would want you to consume sensational content. That's how algorithms are built. Because ultimately, the more time you spend on these platforms, the more amount of money they make. So this is what's working at the back end. And this is why I wanted to put it across, that the spread of fake news is much, much more than the spread of real news. So be very careful about what you consume online. That's the key idea here. And let's kind of, so we've talked about fake news. We've talked about how digital well-being affects you personally. But let's now talk about how fake news affects different kind of theme areas in our day-to-day lives. So this is just an example which I have taken. So this was actually spread. And here you can see that one of our greatest leaders of the country, or one of the big leaders of our country, is sitting along with a woman. And यहाँ पे किसी ने quote करा है कि साहब विदेश जाकर क्या करते देखो. So what do you think? Is this true or is this not true? Real, fake, or whatever you say. I'm sure that all of you must be thinking that it's fake, right? So yes, fake. Correct. Thank you for your thoughts, everyone. So this is fake, but why I wanted to bring this to your notice was someone had actually posted this on Facebook. And as you can see, the kind of comments and the reach here, the number of shares, the number of comments, the number of likes is humongous. Just think about how the reputation of the country or reputation of one of the most reputed leaders of our country is going for a toss. So just imagine how fake news can affect every aspect of our life, or can affect the reputation of one of the most biggest leaders of our country right now. And this was the actual photo which was there. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi was actually with her interpreter who interprets the language. But this was actually photoshopped or morphed with someone else. So this is how the post was morphed. And I just wanted to tell you here that this is not just Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's a lot of other leaders as well. So the idea here is it's affecting the whole spectrum from left wing to right wing. It's not just one particular aspect. And this is an example wherein Rahul Gandhi was actually counting notes, but someone had photoshopped and had put a phone with a bikini clad woman. So this is how, reputations are damaged online. I see a couple of comments coming in. Yes, correct. So this is the idea which I wanted to give you, that fake news affects politics and the whole spectrum of it, from right wing to left wing. And it's not just politics, it's religion as well. And I'm sure that a lot of you have heard about it as well. I'm not going to go dive into it, but this is an example wherein someone had posted this on Facebook that a woman is being molested. But what was actually the case was someone had taken a snippet of a video from YouTube and actually posted it here, as you can see. So this is something taking out of context and putting it across and making it real news. But actually it's fake news. And it's not just religion and politics, it's economy as well and science as well. So, and I'm sure that you must have heard a lot of examples. So for example, I'll give you a couple of examples around science. There was a saying which was saying ki if you have papaya seeds, it will help in tackling dengue probably. So this was something that was put across, but this was not true. If you look at the science-backed research behind it, if you look at the peer researched papers back at the back end, you'll see that the data wasn't making a lot of sense, that there was not a much big difference when people consume papaya seeds. So if people who are consuming papaya seeds, the difference is not that great. So the idea is that this was also fake news. And I'm sure that a lot of you have heard of fake news related to COVID as well. So there was one funny thing that I had heard, ki basically, if you, there was a small rural town wherein cow mutra or cow urine was being spread, and it was said that ki se COVID theek ho jayega. And I'm sure that a lot of you have also heard something on the similar lines, something really fake related to COVID as well. So what I'll do is I'll take a quick pause. Any questions, any thoughts, or anything, any interesting thing that you've heard. I'll take a quick break if you want. So this was section 1, wherein I primarily wanted to make you realize the severity of the spread of fake news online. Yes, Hari Prasad. I'm coming to deepfake as well. Sure, then let me just come to the last part, which is to talk about a video for a political campaign. And let me just show you this video. So to give you some context, ये video Delhi election के time पे आई थी.
Jai Shri Ram, greetings to all. Friends, I'm here just to ask about the work accounted for. Kejriwal said that he will start 500 new schools. Have they started? He said they will install 15 lakh CCTV cameras. Have they installed? They said they will start 10,000 DTC buses. Have they started? He just cheated us on the basis of such promises. But now Delhi has a chance to change it all. Please press lotus button on 8th of February to form Modi ji led government. Thank you.
Your thoughts in the chat window, I would love to have it because I'm sure some of you must have heard of it. Exactly. Correct. Exactly. Fake. So this is a technology called deep fake, which some of you had mentioned in the chat window. So let me kind of break it down into two parts. One is deep, one is fake. So idea behind deep is that there's a technology called deep learning, which is based on artificial intelligence algorithms. So using deep learning artificial intelligence, these videos have been made. And the crux is that basically you can make anyone say anything. I could be saying something and it could be completely fake and you would not be able to realize it. So if you could see, probably from his voice, you must have guessed, but not from the action, not from the photos and all. So this is something that can really break democracies. Just think about it. One of the biggest leaders of our country and of the world coming and speaking anything. And there are a lot of videos online. If you search deepfake Barack Obama, deepfake Donald Trump, you'll find a lot of videos out there. And this can cause chaos across the world. So this is how technology is being leveraged in a very wrong way. Exactly. The one in UK election was when a Labour Party candidate was asking for votes for Johnson. Exactly. So a couple of quick ways to, diagnose deepfakes is that you could obviously, I'll come to some techniques afterwards as well. But as someone was saying, it's not his voice. If you see some irregularities in the video, some blurring, some change in voices and all, you can probably guess that it's something that's not relevant or that's something that's fake. So that's a good point that Rajat pointed out. So this was section 1, wherein I wanted all of you to realize the severity of how digital well-being is affecting all of us and the democracies across the world. So now coming to the meaty portion of the talk, wherein I'll talk about practical solutions for all of you to take away. So let's first look at roles which all of us play online. So whenever all of us go online, we're playing two roles, and it's for everyone. जब हम ऑनलाइन जा रहे हैं, या तो हम कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं न्यूज, या कुछ कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, हम सोशल मीडिया स्क्रॉल कर रहे हैं, और वी जस्ट बीइंग पैसिवली कंज्यूमिंग कंटेंट ऑनलाइन, न्यूज पढ़ रहे, सोशल मीडिया देख रहे हैं. एंड द अदर रोल इज ऑफ अ प्रोड्यूसर, वेयरइन यू आर पुटिंग आउट ब्लॉग पोस्ट, आप कुछ शेयर कर रहे हो या आप कुछ वीडियोस बना रहे हो ऑनलाइन. सो दैट इज द रोल वेयर यू आर अ प्रोड्यूसर, बट मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर पैसिव कंज्यूमर्स ऑनलाइन. So first key message is that be a healthy consumer online. And I want to give an analogy which is much talked about around the world. And the analogy is that technology is compared to food. So the kind of foods that you consume, the kind of vitamins, carbohydrates, that shapes you up as a person. Similarly, that kind of technology that you consume, the kind of content that you consume, it shapes you up as a person. So it's just like food in that way. The types of things that you consume online would shape you up as a person. So that's why it's important to be a healthy consumer, wherein you're taking up the right. So in order to be a healthy consumer, we're going to have a lot of fake news online, right? We're going to get a lot of news, which I talked about, a lot of fake news. So I'm going to talk about how you could counter this first framework, which I'm going to talk about. And this would help you detect crap. So the framework name is CRAP framework, to detect crap. So to kind of break it down, C stands for current. Is this news which you've got current or not? Second is R, which is reliable. Is it reliable or not? What are the data source behind it, or what is the data behind it actually? Third is author. Who is the author? Is he or she credible or not? P is point of view. Is it biased or not, or what is the point of view that the person is trying to give? So remember this CRAP framework. C stands for current, कि ये अभी contextual है नहीं है या पुराना है काफी. Second is reliable, कि क्या data है पीछे, कि reliability क्या है. Third, author, उसकी credibility क्या है. Does he or she know his topic or not? Fourth is point of view, कि क्या बोलना चाह रहे, is it biased or not? So this is what CRAP framework comprises of. And going back to the deepfake video which I talked about, or which I displayed, उसमें अगर आप point of view देखोगे, you'll realize कि एक तो वो जो मैं वीडियो दिखा रहा था, that is dated after the elections, so वो current नहीं हुआ. That is one thing. Plus if you look at the point of view which is trying to give is, अगर वो election के just पहले भी आई है, तब you're not allowed to directly advocate for actually pressing the button. So these are a couple of pointers you should keep in mind. This CRAP framework is really, really helpful. And to actually give an example, so if you look at this post which I had talked about or given you in the first part of the section, wherein I had talked ki ye fake hai. So if you look at this post, so let's apply the CRAP framework here. अगर यहाँ पे हम देखेंगे current, probably Prime Minister Narendra Modi must have come from a foreign trip, so probably might be current. Second is reliability. So what are the data sources? यहाँ पे किसी ने कुछ source नहीं दिया कि क्या है, क्यों है. Third and most importantly, who is the author? So if you look at the author, he or she is some random person out there. So यहाँ पे credibility टूट जाती है. So this is where how you apply the CRAP framework. And P is point of view. If you look at the point of view, he or she is trying to actually malign Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So that is how you apply CRAP framework, and you find if it's real or fake or not. So this is just a quick example which I wanted to give you. So let me talk about now second step which you can use to manage your online world much better, and I call it using technology to manage technology. So first step is something called Google reverse image search. So let me actually show you this. So the idea here is, if you go to Google Images, you could actually search up the images and see if it's fake or real. And if you go to this site, you can do that. If you just Google Images, you come to this site and you can press this button called search by image. And what you could do here is, for example, if you found something online, कोई URL, कोई image का, you could paste it here, or you could upload an image. For example, I'm uploading that image which I showed you, that image of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So if you see, as soon as I searched it, I'm getting a lot of articles here, and you'll get to know that the person which Narendra Modi is sitting with is Gurdeep Kaur, who is her interpreter. So this is how you kind of diagnose fake news by leveraging technology itself. And you could also tackle deepfakes like this. You could take snippets of that video and you could search it, and you'll see that there are some other original videos out there from which it has been leveraged. So this is how you're able to diagnose fake news using technology. Any doubts, anything? I'll take a quick pause. Hope that this is clear, because this is something that's really essential for all of us to leverage to become healthy consumers of tech. Anyone, any thoughts, anything? Hope that it's clear. Google images and then just search the image that is there. Either by pasting the URL or by putting the image here. Perfect then. Feel free to post your doubts if you have. So the second step is wherein you leverage reporting tools. So the idea is that most of us are bystanders when we're online. Yeah, life maybe. If some accident happens, something happens, a lot of us are taking photos out there. We're all bystanders. हम कुछ कर नहीं रहे उसके बारे में. But the idea is to become upstanders. Be upstanders instead of bystanders. कि आप कुछ करो उसके बारे में जाके. And this holds true online as well. When we're online, we could actually report fake news. So if you go to Facebook, Instagram and other tools, you'll see an ellipsis button there. वो 3 डॉट वाला बटन होता है किसी भी पोस्ट के साइड. अगर आप उसको दबाओगे, you can actually report posts as false or fake news. So be an upstander instead of a bystander. If you see some fake news, report it online. Third is there are a lot of fact-checking platforms like Alt News, Boom. There's a whole international fact-checking network, IFCN, International Fact-Checking Network, where there are multiple organizations who are following some guidelines to actually see if the news is correct or not. So you could actually check out these platforms, which would help you, know how they track fake news and what are the fake news which are going on. So this is something that would keep you as an educated citizen of the country. And fourth is feed your algorithm. And let me kind of explain this now. So जब आप सब कोई भी ऑनलाइन जाता है, so हम कुछ ना कुछ लाइक करते हैं, फेसबुक पोस्ट या कुछ ना कुछ करते हैं. Amazon देख लिया, कुछ खरीद लिया, Netflix में बिंज वॉच कर लिया, Google में न्यूज देख लिया, कुछ सर्च कर लिया. So whatever we do online, एक बबल बन जाता है, and this is called filter bubble. And essentially what it means is that it's your own personalized universe of information. You're living in a bubble online because of what you consume online. So अगर आप to give you a more simple example, आप Facebook पे या Instagram में जो भी लाइक करते हो, उसके अराउंड ही आपको कंटेंट दिखते रहता है. तो your bubble surrounds around that. So that's how your bubble becomes online. But the issue with this is that जो ये bubble बनता है, we can't decide what gets in. That's problem number one. And the bigger problem is we don't get to see what is outside. And when I mean outside, ये हमें को पता ही नहीं लगता बाहर information क्या है. So, for example, if you're a left wing follower, आप left wing के post like कर जा रहे हो, तो you'll only be seeing that thing. कि आप सिर्फ left wing के post देख रहे हो, and you're becoming more and more polarized. And that's what's happening now. कि all of us are becoming very polarized. So the idea is that feed your algorithm. अगर आपको लग रहा है आप काफी ज्यादा polarized हो रहे हो, actually go out and follow other things outside. Feed your algorithm. Sometimes when you feel, just go and like something opposite. Go and like some content opposite to what you're doing. That's going to make your feed more neutral, or you're going to crack your filter bubble and go outside. So this is how you feed your algorithm. So curate your technology instead of technology curating. That's the key idea which I'm going to give here. So any thoughts, any questions till now, or any doubts? This was wherein I wanted to talk about the how can we become a healthy consumer online.
You can go ahead. We will take questions later on, maybe. Yeah.
Perfect. Sure. So the second ambit which I want to talk about is becoming a healthy producer online. So as I told that most of us are passive consumers online, and the idea is to also produce content online. So a couple of suggestions to keep in mind is, first of all, think twice before you post, because what goes online stays online. जैसे मैंने जो fake news दिखाई, that might have been removed, but someone must have taken a photo of it or a snippet of it. So be very careful about what you post on it. Think about the consequences. Think about what people would think. Think about how it would affect people. Think about, is it positive or negative? So think twice before you post. Before you actually press the post button, think twice. Second is be aware of your biases. So what's happening is that if all of you, let me actually explain this. So fake news mein underlying cheez kya hai? It's her biases. And there's something called confirmation bias. So if I'm a left-wing follower or a right-wing follower, तो मेरा bias है. For example, if I'm a left-wing follower, मेरा वो bias है. And whatever I get, I'll not even validate it. मैं सीधा share कर दूंगा आगे. क्योंकि मेरा bias है वो. That's what I believe in. So be aware of your biases. Be aware of your confirmation bias. And यही सब fake news पे underlying है. So these people are जो भी spread कर रहे हैं, they are probably strong believers of left wing or right wing, and उसको ही वो आगे share कर देते हैं. So this is how fake news is working at the underneath, wherein our confirmation biases are feeding it. So be aware of your biases and know how to tackle them. Play devil's advocate. Look at opposing content online. So that's something that's going to help you. So during this whole journey of from being an unhealthy consumer of tech to a healthy consumer, there would be a lot of challenges. And I'd be happy to help out. So this was second phase, wherein I wanted to give you practical solutions to, actually thrive in your online world. So you could reach out to me on LinkedIn as well, wherein I'll be happy to help you out with the some other practical steps and how you could manage your online world better. So I've talked about a lot of steps, but now I want you to actually list down one step you want to take in order to transform your tech usage. So I'm posting the Mentimeter link. So Mentimeter is, the link is same, menti.com. And if you could go to 6148984. Just list down one step you want to take today in order to transform your tech usage. It could be LTC. It could be the craft framework. It could be leveraging tech to manage tech, wherein you're fielding your algorithm, or it could be something new as well. Probably we could also learn from what you have. So just list down whatever you know, and I'll take a couple of minutes break here for all of you to list down one step, because I just don't want to give Gyan. I want you to actually have steps to take back today. That's the key essence of the workshop. Consume less and produce more. Absolutely. That's a good idea. Most of us are passive consumers online, but producing content is something that's going to make an impact on the community. Because just imagine this, with one post online, you can reach thousands of people, but in reality, you can't even meet thousands of people. It'll take you a lifetime. So that's the kind of impact you can have if you're a healthy producer online. So since we're talking about digital technologies, so the idea is to consider what are tech companies doing. So I'm sure that you must have followed the US elections, and you must have seen that tech companies are doing something in this space. So as you can see, Twitter had started putting labels that probably this tweet is disputed, or this might be misleading about an election. And even Facebook had done something similar. They started putting labels to tell you that whether it's fake news or it's credible or not, and actually putting the authentic links out there. And Facebook and other tech companies also gave credits to WHO to fight COVID infodemic, which ma'am was also talking about. So tech companies are doing some stuff, and hats off to them. But the idea is that more can be done in this area. And it's not just tech companies, I feel that it's a collective responsibility of all stakeholders. It's not only tech companies, media have to do something, you and me have to do something, policy people have to do something. So idea is that, just imagine, think of it as a stool with 4 or 5 legs. Even if one leg breaks, the stool would go down. I hope you understand an analogy. कि एक भी leg टूटा तो पूरा stool गिर जाएगा. That's how this is also working. कि अगर एक भी अपना रोल नहीं प्ले करेगा, let's say media is not playing their role, or tech companies are not playing a role, or we are not playing our roles, तो पूरा system break down कर देगा. And that's what's happening right now. So I feel it's a collective responsibility for all the stakeholders out there. Tech companies need to do more to fight misinfodemic. Media needs to do more. We need to be healthy consumers and producers. So it's a collective responsibility of all stakeholders out there. And if you are interested in getting involved, I am working with Look Up India, which is working on tackling digital well-being, which is working on misinfodemic and all. So we are students like you. I'm 24 years old. We have people who are in 10th grade. We have people who is working something on digital inclusion. We have college students as well. So we are a set of 7-8 people as of now who are working on tackling this digital well-being issue in India specifically. And if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to help out. And there are a lot of resources you could refer. So I wanted to give you a good crux of fake news, how it's affecting us, and what are some solutions that you can take away. So there are some really great books that you can read. For example, there's this book called Mindia Misinformed. And this is a book which talks about a lot of coverage. And it's not biased. It'll talk about BJP, it'll talk about right wing, left wing, all aspects, religion. So this is not a biased book, and I felt it to be very holistic. So this is something that you could give a read. There are books like Bad News, and I'm sure that you must have heard of documentaries like Social Dilemma and Great Hack. So Social Dilemma talks about how technology is affecting us. And The Great Hack talks about how the elections were hacked because of how technology platforms were utilized. And there are a lot of podcasts you can also listen to. So these are a couple of resources which I wanted to refer to you. So ultimately, I feel it's your choice. It's your choice to either consume fake news or real news. Because I've given you the frameworks. I've given you CRAP framework. I've given you that using technology to manage technology. You could do Google reverse image search, which I'd given you. So you could diagnose this, or you could actually consume this. It's your choice whether to utilize those frameworks or not. Or you could be someone who's putting out wrong content out there. You could be an unhealthy producer, or you could be a healthy producer wherein you're thinking twice before you post, or you're aware of your biases. So ultimately, it's your choice. I've given you all the tools today. And I would like to conclude by this very wonderful quote by Tristan Harris. He's someone who's leading the race in digital well-being. And this quote is basically, a 20-year-old kid, a kid like you and me, you're all 20 years old, or influencer, can get the same kind of reach as traditional media without any of the responsibility. So think about it this way. You could be that 20-year-old kid, or I could be that 20-year-old kid who could be posting that fake news out there because we're not aware of our biases. Or you could be that 20-year-old kid or you could be that kid who's consuming fake news from that influencer. So you could be a healthy or an unhealthy consumer. It's your choice. That's the crux which I wanted to give you here. So this is where I'll take a quick stop and I'll hand it over for questions, doubts, queries, and all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for such an interactive session. It was really helpful and insightful for all of us. So now the participants can write down their questions in the chat box and along with their names.
Correct.
So the first question is from Umang Chaudhary. Umang, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, good morning, sir. Firstly, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. And so my question is that how and to what extent the fake news affect the politics of our country? And what, according to you, are the solutions, changes or additions in the Indian legal system which can be done to combat this issue? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I did touch base on it a bit, but the idea here is that fake news affects every ambit of politics, from left wing to right wing. And I gave examples around that. So this is something that's holistically affecting politics across. That is one part to the answer. And second question wherein you were asking about how can we change, what are the additions which are needed? So I feel there are laws right now. There are some laws in Indian Penal Code. There's the IT Act 2000, which covers ambits and parts of how fake news or how misinformation is being handled. But the idea is how are they being implemented actually? And what is the on-ground impact? That is one thing. But the broader question here is, it's not just the legal system. As I said, it's a collective responsibility of all the stakeholders. The legal system, the media, the tech companies, every every ambit or every stakeholder needs to do his or her part.
Thank you, sir, for the answer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So the next question is from Rajat. Rajat, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Rajat.
So I was asking that, like the Travis Harris, first Tristan Harris says कि 20-year-old thing is actually bad, but can't it be good? Like, for example, some people who are young and they know how to crack the algorithm of these social media platforms, and they actually spread the like true news.
Absolutely. So as I said, it's a tool ultimately. Technology is neither good nor bad. It's given meaning by how we use it. But the thing is that it's being used more for the bad. That's the idea. There are examples of good as well as bad. It's your decision that you could be that healthy one or you could be that unhealthy one. So that choice is yours. But I think there should be still some form of regulation out there, or there should be some mechanism. For example, if a 20-year-old kid has posted something bad, it'll take a lot of time to detect and actually report that out. There are tech companies that are probably lagging right now, and I'm not sure. They don't have a lot of AI intermediaries. कि क्या होता है अभी क्या है ये सारे पोस्ट डिटेक्ट करने के लिए AI algorithms भी है, but वो भी इतने strong नहीं है या इतने ज़्यादा नहीं है. There are actually human fact checkers as well. So we need more of AI probably here to actually tackle that. But again, the essence here is to be a healthy one online, healthy consumer or a healthy producer online. Hope that answers your question, Rajat.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank
So
you.
the next question is from Ayushi Agarwal. Ayushi, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ayushi. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
My question is that how do we communicate it to others that right now we're not in the correct place or it's not the right time, and sometimes even the content that they have forwarded is not something I hold my views up to. So how do we communicate it to others? Because whenever they see us online, they just expect a instant reply, and that is not the case every time.
Correct. So I think that's a lot of expectation setting. That's a good question actually, and that's something that all of us struggle with. I'm assuming you're talking about how digital well-being affects us, not fake news. So basically what I've done is I'll give you my own personal example. I put a WhatsApp status that I'll not reply instantly. It'll take me at least 24 hours to reply. So there I'm doing that expectation setting that I'll reply to you afterwards. Or you could drop a small text that I'm actually tied up with something. I'll come back to you later. Or you could actually look at technology settings. For example, if in WhatsApp, if you go, you can turn your read messages off. You can turn your online off. So with that, people don't get to know when you're online or when you're offline. So you reply at your convenience. And I feel sometimes it's good to be upfront. It's good to be really honest about your expectation that I'm not going to be replying within 1 hour or 2 hours because I have something important to cater to right now. I have other priorities to cater to. I think it's really important to be upfront and honest about your expectations. And it's important for us to also realize it. We also think a lot about what other people are thinking. So there was this quote I had read. I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So basically, we are a perception of a perception. We keep thinking about what others think of us. So internally, we also need to validate and think that we are experiencing joy of missing out. That when we're doing stuff which are more important to us, we're experiencing joy of missing out instead of fear of missing out. That, oh no, मैं उसका reply नहीं करूँगा तो वो क्या सोचेगा या क्या नहीं सोचेगी वो. So I think it's important to change that perspective for ourselves and to clear that expectation to others. Hope that answers, Ayushi.
Yes, sir. It was very helpful.
Thank you. And I know it's a very क्या कहते हैं काफी controversial topic है. So feel free to we can have a discussion as well. I know काफी topic थोड़ा. So feel free to have differing thoughts. Anything else, yeah.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Hari Prasad Sah. Hari, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Just a second, Hari Prasad. So before he asked the question, I had posted a Mentimeter link. I would love to have your feedback till then, till the time we are having questions. No? So, yeah. 9769770. Yes, go on. Hari.
Yes, sir, sure, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you talked about fact checking platforms like Alt and other. So my question is that we often get to know that there are many mainstream media or media channels that itself broadcast the fake news and put another program for checking the fact news called fact checks or something. What's your take on this, sir?
Quite a controversial question. Yeah, so I'm not sure how to actually answer that because business चला रहे होंगे. I can't really honestly comment on that because it's more business than them probably. If they're putting out fake content and then handling it as well, it's more business. So some people also say this, not me, कि tech companies क्या कर रही है, addict भी कर रही है, साथ में de-addiction की techniques भी बता रही है कि तुमको पहले ज्यादा content दिखा दिया, फिर वो screen time की app डाल दी, या I'm sure you must have seen Google digital well-being apps. The measures tech companies have taken to actually disaddict or de-addict you from tech companies. So idea है कि look at also probably गाड़ी company को देखो, जब probably car आई थी ना तब seat belt नहीं थी, seat belt बाद में आई थी, तो safety देख रहे थे तुम्हारी वो. So ऐसे भी सोच सकते हो कि उनने पहले fake news कर दिया, but अब वो seat belt भी डाल रहे कि वो fake news को handle भी करे. So it might be from a good intention or a bad intention. But I am not sure whether to comment on that or not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to ask you one question more. So, what's your take on WhatsApp's new policy?
Facebook वाली.
Yes,
हाँ,
sir.
so data privacy यार, हाँ, my take would be यार it's too much. I feel ऐसा data तो नहीं देना चाहिए.
So, should we abort WhatsApp and what are the options?
Abort करना तो यार, I'm not of the opinion of going extremes. I feel this could be taken up at a more neutral level wherein we actually have a meeting with the WhatsApp stakeholders. We put a petition outside. But say abort karna would not be the solution, I feel. That's something that I don't think would be the solution. But I feel ki hoga. Ab kya hoga? People would start shifting more to Telegram. That's what I feel. Because that is more safer and all. But solution iska yahi hoga yaar ki abort karna is कितने लोग अबोर्ट कर लेंगे यार, सब मिलके तो अबोर्ट वैसे भी नहीं करेंगे. इट वुड बी अ वेरी स्मॉल परसेंटेज, सो इफेक्ट नहीं आएगा उससे ज्यादा. एंड ऑनेस्टली देखो बताता हूँ, आई विल बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, पीपल डोंट रियली केयर अबाउट देयर प्राइवेसी. पीपल डोंट केयर कि क्या डेटा है, लोगों को पता ही नहीं क्या डेटा जा रहा है. सो यू कैन एक्चुअली डाउनलोड योर डेटा ऑन फेसबुक इफ यू गो ना, इवन फेसबुक में तो होता है, व्हाट्सएप में आई एम नॉट श्योर. सो यू कैन सी कि फेसबुक में क्या क्या डेटा तुम्हारा स्टोर्ड है एक्चुअली. सो नन ऑफ अस एक्चुअली केयर. जो भी प्राइवेसी पॉलिसी वगैरह आती है, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन आती है, डज एनीवन ऑफ एक्चुअली रीड दैट? आई एग्री करके आगे निकल जाते हैं ना. So most of us don't even care about the data which we have online, but none of us realize the importance. So एक मैं importance देता हूँ, एक मैं बताता हूँ, एक दो चीजें बताता हूँ. So think about it this way कि आप स्कूल में हो, मैंने एक डिटेक्टिव लगा दी कॉलेज में, आपके रोडी मन ने एक डिटेक्टिव लगा दी जो आपको पूरे दिन आपको देख रहा है, आपके साथ घूम रहा है कि क्या क्या कर रहे हो आप, क्या नहीं कर रहे हो, टॉयलेट में क्या कर रहे हो. तो ऑनलाइन कंपनीज भी ये कर रही है, वो डेटा हर पॉइंट पे कलेक्ट कर रही है आपका. ऐसे ही एक तरह आपके साथ ही घूम रहे हैं ना, बट फिजिकली नहीं है एक तरह से. So that is how data privacy is affecting us, and that's how it's very important for all of us to be actually aware of our privacy policies कि क्या क्या data collect हो रहा है. And एक और example देता हूँ. तो एक क्या हुआ था, एक woman थी, वो काफी मतलब उसको symptoms आ रहे थे, उसने Google करा, उसको pregnancy related products के advertisement आने शुरू हुए. तो उसको खुद नहीं पता था वो pregnant है, but Google को पता था या web engine को पता था. So that's the kind of data which is being collected, and we're not even aware of it. Sorry, थोड़ा tangent ले लिया, but I thought I'd also realize.
Thank you, sir.
Hope that answers your question, यार. थोड़ा.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you so
I think,
much.
हाँ, sorry, just हाँ, हरी. I think awareness important है. वो creek कक्षा का. सबको awareness होगी तो automatically handle होगा एक large level. Yes, sir.
एकदम. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Vaibhav Singh. Vaibhav, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Vaibhav, are you there?
I hope none of you slept during my webinar.
No, sir, it was really interactive.
Anjali, maybe you can read his question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay,
am I audible now?
Yes.
Am I audible? Okay. Sir, of lately, many have been pressing the social media companies to regulate the kind of information that flows from there and kind of spread the curb the spread of fake news. But when these social media platforms come about to do that, then we say that we how can we allow private entities to be gatekeepers to the digital world when it's a democratic setup? And then when governments start doing that role to spread the curb the spread of fake news, like European Union has been a crusader of consumers' rights and privacy, then we say that state is intervening in the private sphere. So how do we strike a kind of a balance there between how social media platforms can work out and how government can work in cooperation with each other?
Correct. हाँ, even वो जो मैंने एनालॉजी दी थी ना, क्या कहते हैं, कुर्सी की, कि दैट स्टूल विद 5 legs, अगर एक भी लेग टूटेगा पूरी स्टूल गिर जाएगी. सो तभी एक पे ज्यादा प्रेशर नहीं डालना कि गवर्नमेंट सब करे, GDPR बनाए जैसे EU का, यू आर गिविंग एग्जांपल, जनरल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन रेगुलेशन, तो एक में फोर्स डाला सोशल मीडिया सब करे, दैट्स रॉन्ग. सो आइडिया इज टू हैव दैट स्ट्राइक बैलेंस कि सब अपने अपने स्टेप्स ले. ठीक है, फेक न्यूज आएगी, बट हमें हेल्दी कंज्यूमर बनना है, हमें प्रोड्यूस करना है कंटेंट अच्छा, हमारा बैलेंस वो हुआ. टेक कंपनीज को साथ साथ वो लेबल डालने हैं, या दे नीड टू एक्चुअली वर्क फास्टर ऑन रिमूविंग दीज पोस्ट्स. एंड पॉलिसी में देयर शुड बी समथिंग अराउंड फेक न्यूज मोर, और देयर शुड बी मोर रेगुलेशन ऑन टेक कंपनीज, मोर लेस पावर. सो ये सारे जो स्टेक होल्डर्स है, एवरीवन नीड्स टू प्ले अ रोल. अगर कोई भी रोल नहीं प्ले करेगा, उस इकोसिस्टम टूट जाएगा पूरा. So that's why collective responsibility of all stakeholders. Everyone needs to do the steps they have to. क्योंकि देख ultimately fake news can't go completely. Just giving example, fake news पूरी तरह जा नहीं सकती. And if you're not aware कि कैसे handle करना है, we'll still blame them. But we also need to know our steps which we can take. So ऐसे ही सब stakeholders को अपना अपना part play करना है कि वो हटाए अपने साइड से maximally, या government regulations डाले tech companies पे, या disincentive scheme डाले. So everyone needs to play a role. Collective responsibility of all stakeholders. Hope that answers. Yeah, hope that's clear.
Then, sir, how do we take into account the biases of social media platforms when we talk about regulating the political information?
बहुत ही बढ़िया क्वेश्चन है. So, if you look at all these tech companies, तो क्या हो रहा है? हाँ, तो तभी मैंने वो स्टूल वाला एग्जांपल है. यहाँ पे social media companies also need to work on it. To give an example, जो तू कह रहा था कि ये बायसेस सोशल मीडिया के क्या आ रहे हैं, तो अल्टीमेटली टेक कंपनीज में क्या है, देयर आर पीपल लाइक अस, बट डाइवर्सिटी ज्यादा नहीं. जो भी टेक प्लेटफॉर्म बने, इफ यू लुक एट टेक इंडस्ट्री, इट्स मेल डोमिनेटेड, या प्रोबब्ली वाइट ज्यादा. सो इट्स मेल डोमिनेटेड, आई एम श्योर. वाइट डोमिनेटेड का आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट आइडिया इज की डाइवर्सिटी नहीं है टेक कंपनीज में, या कम है डाइवर्सिटी. सो डाइवर्सिटी इज द की टू ऑल सोल्यूशन. तो जब क्या कहते हैं, जब ये टेक कंपनीज है जो भी कुछ बना रहे, दे शुड टेक डाइवर्सिटी इन पर्सपेक्टिव कि LGBTQ+ से आ रहा है, व्हाइट से आ रहे हैं, ब्लैक से आ रहे हैं, बेसिकली सारी कम्युनिटीज की नीड्स कैटर करनी है. सो देयर समथिंग कॉल्ड डिजाइन थिंकिंग, जहां पे तू सारे यूजर्स की नीड्स ले रहा है. सो व्हेन यू डू डिजाइन थिंकिंग, कोई भी जो प्रोडक्ट बना रहा है, तो सारे नीड्स लेगा यूजर्स के, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ यूजर्स, ब्लैक, व्हाइट, XY रिलीजन, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. उससे क्या होगा, तेरा जो प्रोडक्ट बनेगा, इट विल कैटर टू ऑल नीड्स, वो बायसेस कम होंगे. तो एक और एग्जांपल देता हूं. एक टेक्नोलॉजी है फेशियल रिकग्निशन टेक्नोलॉजी. यूएस में क्या हुआ था कि अभी बैन हो रहा है, चल रहा है इसके अराउंड. तो क्या हो रहा था कि ये मेल किसी मेल ने बनाया होगा, किसी व्हाइट मेल ने बनाया होगा, तो क्या था कि ब्लैक्स के अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेट करती थी टेक्नोलॉजी, बिकॉज जिसने बनाई थी वो मेल डोमिनेटेड ज्यादा थी. तो टेक कंपनीज में भी सिमिलर हो रहा है, वो डाइवर्सिटी नहीं ऊपर. सो डाइवर्सिटी इज द की टू सॉल्यूशन. उससे वो बायसेस भी कम होंगे एक तरह से. होप दैट मेक्स सेंस.
सर,
Thank you, sir. So the next question, he has not written his question, but he's saying that count me two in question round. So Abhay, if you have your question ready, so please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. There are two questions I want to ask. The first one is that we see, the consumers want news which has some kind of masala and all those things in it, which makes it more crispy. And people love that kind of news. Although I personally don't believe in Bark's rating of how the newsrooms are getting the top news channel of India, but somewhat they are true. And people love to see those kind of news channels which show these kind of shows which has these hypertension debates and all those people shouting on each other. And also the second thing, we see that the mainstream media houses, because most of the consumers are normal household people, and they don't have the time to always criticize what is being shown. They just consume what is being shown, and they don't have time for these things that to analyze and fact check these things. And what the mainstream media show, if they are wrong, if they are proved wrong, they never show it that the thing we showed earlier was wrong. And also other news channels do not allegate against other news channels that the news shown by that news channel is fake. So what's your take on it?
That's a very valid point यार. काफी अच्छा पॉइंट है. आई एग्री विद यू कि कंज्यूमर्स को ज्यादा मसाला चाहिए, जो फेक आता है उसको वैलिडेट नहीं करते. बट आई वुड से अगर तू तभी इफ यू लुक एट रिसर्च ना, या इफ यू लुक एट पोल्स, यू विल सी कि प्रिंट मीडिया, न्यूज़पेपर्स एंड ऑल आर द मोस्ट क्रेडिबल. बिकॉज अगर तू उनमें देखेगा ना, उनमें वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर कुछ भी गलत डाल देना, अगले दिन आएगा कि दिस वॉज रॉन्ग. आई एम श्योर इफ यू रेड न्यूज़पेपर, उसमें आएगा कि अगले दिन ये गलत था या ये था. सो दे हैव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एंड दे आर मोर ऑथेंटिक. प्रिंट में चीज है. तो that's why a lot of polls say कि आप print media या ज़्यादा consume करो. That's why I personally prefer newspapers over online mediums and all. So that's my take on it. कि as a consumer, we could probably shift base to something else. And from media perspective, I feel they need to do a stuff. They need to do the stuff that you're talking about. They need to actually report कि क्या गलत हो रहा है, क्या नहीं हो रहा गलत. So I think that's important. And regulation, government से regulations आ सकते हैं, for example, more responsibility and all, policy level से. So again, collective responsibility. सब कुछ collective responsibility आ जाता है ultimately, boil down करके. But हाँ, to give a practical advice, I personally prefer newspapers because of the credibility.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Manya Jain. Manya, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Manya.
So I want to ask that many times where we find that media is not showing us the real content or is showing the one side of the story. So how can we avoid or rectify that?
Correct. So first अपने sources देंगे. As a consumer level, look at what sources you're referring. So जो media, जो भी research, जो भी media तुम देख रहे हो, शायद that's biased, probably left wing or right wing. Then look at which are right wing biased. So look at extremes. Look at who is neutral. So you need to consider all perspectives. क्योंकि there are researches. जैसे मेरे को US का याद है कि BBC is neutral, something is not, something is left wing, right wing. So India का भी look at similar research. कि which is biased, which is not, which is neutral. So I think if you look at your sources as a consumer level, that would help you. कि which to consume, which not to consume. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Yashashvi. Yashashvi, please unmute yourself.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So my question to you is that in the era of, fake news, fake profiles, morphing, dubbing of people, pictures, how can we ourselves be cautious to not fall a prey into it? Is there any, mechanism, trustworthy mechanism? Because, everything is so biased and fake anyway. So isn't it better to not be anywhere?
That's a good point. But honestly, it's not anytime in anything in life, it's not good to be in extremes. कि आप सब छोड़ भी दो, आप सब कुछ ले भी लो, आप बहुत into it हो. For example, if you're completely addicted, that's wrong. या आपने कभी cold turkey कर दिया, आपने बिल्कुल छोड़ दिया, that's wrong. So that balance is something that's important. Because ultimately, the platform you're getting into, while you're getting fake news, you're also getting authentic news. But as consumers, we need to distinguish what's fake and what's real. And I gave you tools to do that. So I think probably our sources might be wrong as well. Probably, जो मैं जैसे कोई कह रहा था कि मैं बहुत biased देख रहा हूँ. There might be sources which are good as well. I don't know. For example, some people told me they're following WION, World is One News. I'm not sure whether it's credible or not, but people say that it's more neutral and something. So probably we should also get our sources right. And this is where we get our information from. Or this is why it's important to be there as well. It has its goods as well. So ultimately, we can't live without technology. Because this is going to increase more and more. But as consumers, we need to tackle it better. That's my take on it. And we need to take the goods and remove the bads in very short, crux way. अच्छी चीजें लेनी और बुरी चीजें हटानी.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So the next question is from Tanishka. Tanishka, please unmute yourself. You have not jotted down your question.
Good afternoon, sir. First of all, thank you for taking out your time and letting us know a lot about technology, fake news. Sir, my question to you is that nowadays we get a lot of fake calls in the name of Naukri.com, and it's not that we are fooled that we'll believe in that, but they bound us so much that we get believed into it. They send us mail, and that is exactly that look like Naukri.com. So what is your point of view regarding that?
Phishing one, I think phishing, हाँ, probably correct. So ये सब होते रहेगा. This would probably increase more, I would say, because अभी तो mail पे आ रहा है, phone पे आ रहा है. The
Yes,
mail
sir.
would also become more authentic probably. So this would increase. But as consumers, we need to have those tools handy कि हम कैसे detect करें उसको. So mails पे आप आजकल automatically आ जाता है. They directly go into spam, and you could actually, so as a consumer, look at how you can tackle that. So you'll see कि कुछ words में problem होगी. Naukri नहीं लिखा होगा या Naukri.com नहीं होगा. Actually Google it कि Naukri.com की असली email ID क्या है. या look at the content of the email. You'll see that something is wrong with the email. Something is fishy with the email. उसमें कुछ spelling mistake होगी या कुछ click करने के बोलेंगे. तो never do that. So what I'm trying to tell you is, as a consumer, we need to have our tools handy on how we can tackle this. When we know our tools, we can handle it, because this is going to increase more. It's not going to decrease. But we need to be healthy consumers.
Thank you, sir.
System को हम नहीं control कर सकते, but we can do our part.
Yes, sir.
Good citizens.
Okay, so sir, the next question is from Dharmendra. Dharmendra, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, sometimes well-known personalities or prominent personalities are also in circle of fake news. Like recently, Rajdeep Sardesai posted about President's death some days before. So my question is that what, as a student community, what we can do to make aware society, general people aware?
Correct. Good question, yeah. So I feel each and every one of us, wherever we are, whatever position we are in life, we can do something about it. So if you're talking specifically about digital citizenship, I'll tell you my own thing. I am a common student like you, all of you. I'm just a normal average student. But I had gone through that journey of being addicted. I went cold turkey. And I thought I should do something about it because I see everyone else do it. So I went out there and I did more than 100 workshops. I went there and talked about it. I've also joined an NGO called Look Up, which is doing something on these lines. So मेरा point है कोई भी कहीं भी है वो कुछ कर सकता है. To give you your example, I'm sure Kirodimal में there would be NGOs, there would be some kind of non-profits, some clubs and departments you can do. अगर नहीं है तो Enactus में हो गया. I'm sure Enactus में you can take up something. या कोई ना कोई club में you could take ownership of something related to digital citizenship. Or you could do your own stuff as well. You could start a startup. You could be part of a media organization. Internship कर लो कहीं पे. You could intern at a tech company. So I feel the possibilities are limitless. But it's up to you as to what you want to do. Media company, tech company का intern कर लो, NGO कर लो, अपना कुछ खोल लो. बहुत options है. But at a this was a larger scale. At a smaller level, I would say, तू आज जिससे कुछ सीखा. जाके अपने पेरेंट्स को बता, जाके अपने कम्युनिटी को बता, जाके अपने फ्रेंड्स को बता. This is how you start at a small level, but this is how you drive a revolution together at a larger scale.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So due to the time limitation, this will be the last question that I'll be asking. So the last question is from Pooja Yadav. Pooja, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Rachel. Can you hear me?
Yes, Pooja.
As you must be known, there's a digital division, like digital divide, digital illiteracy, considering the countries or different areas. So my question is, how can this digital division be conquered to make the global digital citizenship a reality?
Correct. Good question.
Yeah.
So there are two extremes to digital. I was talking a lot about extremes. There's something called digital overload or addiction, which is something that I primarily deal with. Second part is digital inclusion, so extreme is second, wherein people are not getting access to tech, and इसमें भी ambits है, इसमें कि या तो उसका tech ही नहीं है, या दूसरा part ये है कि people with disabilities, do they have access to the proper tech or not, या tech उनके लिए made है नहीं है. So I think you're talking about this extreme. So I think there's a lot of work which needs to be done at this end as well as this end. This is something that I'm more associated with because this is something that I see on a day-to-day basis because I'm from urban India. मतलब मेरा पूरा peer वैसा है. But what I see is that good steps have been taken to actually give them the benefits of tech as well, the digital inclusion part. For example, Jio jo hai, the number of internet users has gone up to another level in the last 2 to 3 years. I think more than 500-600 million people actually have access to a phone now and internet. So I think a lot of good steps are being taken there. So, and I think more should be taken there. Data should probably become more cheaper, or it should be made available to all the people out there. So I think the stuff that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is doing is something that's great and should be continued.
I think even Elon Musk is like launching satellites for the high-speed internet.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. But high-speed internet तो यहाँ के लिए हुआ ना यार, for the
African, for African nations.
But people who African nations, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The session was really interactive and very interesting. So now I call upon the president of La Politique, Pankhuri Jain, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Before that, thank you to Pankhuri and team for organizing all of this. Extremely grateful for all the efforts.
Thank you so much.
Poster to Zoom and everything else, logistics. Yeah.
Thank you. That means a lot. So, am I audible? Yeah. So thank you, Anjali. As we come towards the end of the webinar, I, Pankhuri Jain, on behalf of La Polity, Department of Political Science, Kirorimal College, would like to extend our deepest gratitude to our esteemed guest, Mr. Rujul Arora, for enlightening us with his knowledge and words of wisdom, and honestly for delivering such a insightful and thought-provoking session. And I would also like to thank the staff advisor of La Polity, Dr. Rupinder Oberoi, and the other department professors for joining us today. And a special thanks to the organizing committee for their unflinching support and coordination. And a big thanks to all the participants for joining us today and for participating in the entire workshop enthusiastically. And lastly, I would just add a small point. So, drawing inspiration from Sir's word, I personally strongly believe that a global deficit in digital media literacy has been identified as a critical factor explaining widespread belief in online misinformation, leading to changes in education policy and design of technology platforms. And so, the field of critical media literacy is therefore a necessary dimension to the equation of fake news. So that's all. I rest my case here, and thank you once again for joining us today, and Rujul sir for such an enlightening session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.